touched on the fact that you've been providing something of a lead on the audience measurement side of things. I guess that's been one of your big focuses in recent months. Can you maybe just talk us through a bit on where we are and where we're going?
Sure. So Nielsen rating system, 8 books a year, will finish at the end of this year. That is predicated on successful trial with GfK, which is ongoing now, and subject to final negotiations, which I'm sure will go very well. So from January next year, it'll be GfK doing the measurement system for our audience. The changes will be predominantly a diary-based system, which is, yes, it's available in paper as it has been, but on top of that, you can do it on iPad, on mobile and online, so that recall is more immediately recorded. So
but it is still recall as opposed to measuring what they're actually
absolutely, absolutely. Now, during it's a credible and absolutely robust system, so we'll continue with that platform. To supplement that, we've already done some trials with GfK this year on a watch that automatically records and registers. So we'll trial watch, we'll trial apps on mobile phones, we'll trial other technologies that are world's best. And by the end of the 3-year period, we're committed to deploying an automated measurement system in a technology we have not yet decided upon. So we need to test which one works best, get world's best advice on it, and deploy that as part of the weaponry with GfK.
What's your instinct will be the answer?
I think it'll be a blend. I think that the diary system is still a great system, but I would love to see the immediacy blended in of an automated recording. So it's fascinating, and it's going to be a busy 6 months, let alone busy 3 years ahead with GfK. But I and the board are really interested to see how that trial goes.
Cathy, you were nodding at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think electronic measurement is obviously where people intuitively think we should be now. And of course, we've sort of seen case studies of measurement changes that weren't properly planned and thought out, and OzTam was, with meters, is a historic example of that in this country. So while we sort of feel the pressure and the appetite for change in the marketing community, we really do have to make sure that we don't, put a foot wrong and mess with the integrity of our currency. But that's not to be confused with the fact that there's not an appetite, to ultimately innovate further. I think the changes to online capture and more mobile capture of listing is great. Even though it's recall-based, the common sense argument that you are recalling at the point you're consuming, as opposed to on a recall basis going back 2 or 3 days, is I think a lot more robust and a lot more of a common sense approach to data capture. So I think you'll find these changes will be really positive.
I agree. I absolutely agree with Cathy. I mean, if you talk to any radio operator in the States, they would gladly take back the decision to go to the watch, because it has hurt the industry enormously.
Why?
Because it was just too quick a turnover. So it went from a very stable currency into an unstable currency, and so a lot of questions asked. And in this world, if you've got 12 months or 18 months of advertisers questioning and they move on to something else, it's very hard to get them back. The UK model, I think, was particularly strong in terms of they're sort of 3 years ahead of us down the road in terms of moving from part diary to part electronic, and it's working well. And also then with GfK, I think GfK, in other work they've done around Europe, have been very progressive in working with the industry and with advertisers in terms of not just educating them on the software and how to analyse the data, but also in promoting the data, promoting the usage, and really are very active on that. And that was one of the reasons why the committee, I think, particularly thought that GfK were very progressive in their approach to how we actually engage with clients and advertisers.
Russell, are you happy with this move?
No, like I said, I mean, 2GB's been number one, I think, for 10, 12 years. I was very happy with the old system. I don't get it. What was your chat?
Cathy, your big issue of the last 12 months, what occupied your...
Well, I think our issues, I think it's been reported we were sort of blissfully under the radar in a pretty intense year for radio, but we relaunched a couple of stations, over that time, so that naturally, in terms of working on the business, occupied a lot of our time. So, but equally, like Ciaran has said, it's about sort of positioning the business to be able to talk a different language with advertisers, and also we're particularly interested in new platforms. and setting up a joint venture with Rdio over that period, streaming music service, and also just launching other mobile products like Shopper Nova and our own mobile apps and things. We've been very keen to build new audiences beyond just broadcast, and I think that's a complex space, and obviously one that as a sort of terrestrial broadcaster, you sort of need to understand how all those bits fit together. But that's an exciting space, I think, opportunities for all of us. And, you can see commercial networks now starting to diversify into other music type products. And, the end game for us is to try to build new audiences and offer new products